There we are. We're recording. Good morning, good evening, everybody. How you doing? Well, this side of the world, I got to tell you, I'm cold.
You're cold, yeah.
I am cold. It is our winter, and so it is cool. And anyway, it'll be fine soon. So I've got the fire on. I know it's summer for the northern hemisphere people. Anyway, I think it's about.
I'm jealous you have a fire on.
Yeah, got the thing cranking here. I suppose it's kind of all proportional, isn't it? You know, well, you get used to what you get used to, and so anyway, this is all happening here. All right, okay, so let's get ourselves going. So today, I was speaking with Julie, and we said, look, a few people have some blending questions, blending issues. What is blending? How does it happen? What goes on? Etc. And thought it would be useful to do a conversation about what is blending and what can go wrong, or what do you need to know, what goes on during the process, and understand it at a bigger level. Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a bunch of things that we're going to look at, and also some exercises which I can give you to try to help you during the process as well. But we'll get to them in due course. So I thought right to the very beginning, I'm going to begin by asking you a question. And please...
Asking us or me?
Everybody here. And the reason I'm asking this question is so that you can perhaps get some confirmation about what is actually happening and what you're trying to do. Yeah. So the question right at the beginning is, well, what is spirit? Because this is who we're saying that we're trying to connect to. So what does everybody think? What is spirit? Well, what are the qualities of spirit if it's not so easy to...
Do you guys want to unmute yourself?
Oh yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? What is spirit? Anybody want to have a stab? Because if you don't really know what spirit is, then what are you trying to do?
Well, there's different variations, I would say, Mark. You know, you've got the spirit of who we are, so the essence of ourselves. But then that you have, when we connect to spirit, so we're connected to the essence of those that's past. But there's also the spirit of everything that we're connected within. So there's many different variations of it. Would be my thoughts on it, you know.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any thoughts on it? Hey, Matthew.
Hi, Matt. Hello, how are you?
Hi, good, thanks.
My thoughts on spirit is that it's energy, and we're all different. We're all energy, and within our energy is these personalities, and the different energies. What I get, so from my understanding, is the sounds, the feelings, the emotions. And that's what spirit is to me, is in a nutshell. It's the energy.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Matthew. Or is it Matt or Matthew?
Whatever you like. I don't know.
All right. That's an open statement. All right. Anybody else? Want to? What then is spirit, or what are the qualities of spirit if it's difficult to describe?
Qualities?
Pardon, Julie?
Did you say the qualities of spirit?
What are the qualities? Because sometimes it's difficult to describe exactly what it is, but you can see it in the expression.
I don't know. I feel spirit all around me, whether it's a plant or an emotion, an essence.
Okay. You see, anything that is true in life is very difficult to describe. You know, it's very difficult to say really what love is, isn't it? You know, what is love? And people say, or science will tell you that it's a bunch of chemicals mixing together to give a feeling, you know. which to me does take all the romance out of love. But I'm feeling my chemicals stir when I see you. It doesn't have the same ring, does it? It's not going to be in a Christmas card. And also the things like love, courage. What is courage? What is truth? What is life? You know, what is spirit? So hence it can be very difficult to describe what it is, but maybe we can describe some of the visual or feelings effects of spirit.
Well, my opinion is that when we're speaking about blending with spirit, we're blending with a individual that used to be here on earth, and we're blending with their personality. So to me, it's a different aspect of spirit.
All right. Okay. So the personality side. So this brings up the question then, what is the difference between spirit and soul? Is there a difference, or are they the same thing? You know, do you have a soul or a spirit, or do you have both, or are they different?
I always thought they were the same, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a good question there when you ask it, because you think about it. If you walk into a room, you'll feel the spirit of the essence of what was left there. So, for instance, you know, you will feel it's even if you think about it, someone living, if you walk into the house, you feel the essence of that person in the house. To me, that is the spirit as well. But the soul is if you think about the fragments of the soul, where parts of the soul, you know, through trauma, the soul, part of the soul can be lost, and it's through the healing that we come together, that we heal. So sometimes you can look at it in different ways. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, it can be down to semantics, exactly. The you know, lots of people have lots of different definitions and lots of different thoughts. Anybody else?
I just want to add, Julie, I think most of the time that is what we're trying to bring in, is a guide or a loved one that's been here before. But can't we also bring in like angels in that? I know some people do. And have all angels been, you know, here before?
Okay. All right. Well, that brings up other questions too. Anybody else got? I think I saw somebody's hand go up. I wasn't sure. The Malada. Yep.
I was just gonna say, I've been watching the Spirit Talks on Sunday nights in the U.S. and what I'm hearing from Ignatius, your spirit guide, is that the soul is the individual expression of the spirit, and spirit is all, like the idea of the ocean versus the little wave in the ocean. So we're all spirit. All of this is spirit. There's not a separation from spirit.
The definition I like to use is exactly what was referred to there. The soul is the individual expression of the whole, and the whole being spirit. So here with soul, you tend to get personality. But when you're connected to a whole, as in every soul, the individual personality is still there, but it's only just a small fragment of what the whole spirit would be. Yeah. So again, in what Malada was referring to in one of the talks, he was saying that the soul really, the spirit really is holographic, and holographic means that you can see the whole in the individual. So if you ever seen a hologram, a little card or something, let's say business card size card, and you get that 3D image within it, if you rip off a corner or rip it in half, the whole image is still available in that one segment. So if you rip it again and you rip it again, so let's say you rip it down to 10%, in that 10%, there is still the whole image of the 100%. Yet it looks like it's a very different aspect, doesn't it? It's a very different part. So when we're talking about soul, we're talking about an individual or an individual aspect of something which is part of the whole. Yeah. Now, of course, there are many definitions, and many different people have many different ways of describing both soul and spirit. And sometimes you can hear it the opposite way around from some people, that the spirit is or the word spirit describes the individual, and the word soul describes the universal. So it's important perhaps to realize exactly what you're trying to do and the way you're trying to do it. So whether you want to describe this as individual or universal, in essence, we're working with, if you want to work with a personality, that you will work more with a soul here, or a soul level of, let's say, of a guide or yourself, and spirit, you may work with a far bigger concept. Yeah, so hence you get different points of view. Yeah, so if you work with a soul, according to the definition we just used, if you work with a soul, then you'll get one point of view, but potentially with a more evolved soul or a higher soul, you may get a far broader point of view. So hence you can at times get one spirit saying one thing and another spirit saying something different, or another soul, I should say, something different, a different point of view, because they look at it from a very different angle. So it's not always the case that every conversation has to agree. You know, my guides may not agree with another of my guides, or my guides with your guides. As you know, you may disagree with me or the person sitting next to you. You know. So in essence here, we're looking for, during our trance process, depending on where you are, if you want to look for more of an individual, so here then you'll start to see the personality coming through with time. But as you evolve, it is potential that you'll start to see different conversations on different levels with higher, if you want to use that term, higher souls or nearer to spirit. So to some degree, we've put some words around what we're looking for, but really we need to put around, it's still very difficult to say, well, okay, well, what is it? You know, what is it? That's all good and good saying it's a personality, but what is it? You know? And part of this is that you need to come to terms with this yourself, and you need to discover this yourself. It's all well and good reading a book or listening to somebody, and they may say a soul or a spirit is this, that, or the other. I think, as Matt was saying, energy, you know, and energy that's around. How does energy also have the quality of love? You know, how does it have knowledge? How does energy have knowledge? Now, it's an interesting concept, because at some stage you can listen to words, and maybe you listen to words and find something you agree with, but it really matters very little until you have the experience of it yourself and you can almost embody it. Yeah. And they say, I know what this is, I have felt it. Or I have, in some people's case, I have seen it and I've heard it. You see, both of these, whether you call it soul or spirit, is very difficult to put it in a nice little box and saying it is this. So hence also our own descriptions and our own way of working can vary quite greatly. So let's say the way Maureen works and the way Anne works could be very, very individual. could be very individual in the way things express themselves and the way you link through. So, in essence, part of this work is for you to understand you. And to understand you the way you are, and to find, in part, your spirit, your soul. Yeah. And in knowing yourself a little bit, you become to know other people. So, so for example, for me, a long while ago, I'm going back, I'm going to have a guess, I can't really remember, 2003, 4, maybe something like that. There was a period of time I began a process of meditation, really not knowing what I was doing, why I was doing it. And the act of meditation here meant that I got to know myself a little bit, yeah. There's an old story that which was, if you find your soul, you will find every soul. Yeah, so you can see that this is a step beyond soul into spirit, using the definition we just said. And so finding your own self helps you to understand everything else. And in essence, I really agree with this, because I know my guides have often said to people, if you spend long enough trying to discover you, you'll actually discover me. That's a guide saying it. Yeah. And you think, well, what does that really mean? Do you know? Well, obviously, it's the connection to the everything is one and everything is connected. So part of your development process, and the people I think have, let's say, a greater understanding and sometimes a greater evolvement through the trance process, have had some time and some stage of understanding self. Yeah. And I've come to things about who am I? Where do I look? How do I look? You know, how do I feel me? Or what does me feel like? You know? So the act of meditation for me meant that I was about 7 or 8 years into meditation. I can't really remember. And the whole of trance process happened for me as a byproduct. I never sat for trance to begin with. My development was never for trance. My development was for, well, initially meditation, eventually for my discovery, some people use the words ascension, enlightenment, realization, what words you would like. And out of that, a byproduct of that became healing, and out of the healing became trance. Out of the trance, for me, became mediumship. It's an interesting concept in itself. You would think people go from mediumship into trance, but it's not always the way. Those which sit for healing have a very different, I think the people I work with, you can tell the ones which come from healing background as opposed to the ones that come from mediumship background, the way they choose to work. Healers tend to like to sit and feel the energy and feel the beauty of the feeling and feel the feeling of love and connection. Mediums tend to want to know who the guide is, what do they look like, where did they live before. They wanted validation, you know, because that's what they trained, isn't it? You trained yourself for validation. I've got a spirit here, this is your grandmother, it looks like this, etc. But healers just want to enjoy the bliss. So healing tends to be more of a natural connection for trance because it is also more passive. What I mean by passive is they tend to do less work and effort in chasing. those coming from mediumship, they're used to chasing information. So hence they go trying to find something. And they try to find who they are, what's going on, how should it be, you know. Healers tend to just say, I've got the energy here, you know, and it's instantaneous. Mediums tend to have a longer delay. Where's the energy? Let's go and find it. Okay, where is it? There it is. And then tend to try and describe. So that, of course, is more active. So mediums then have a problem of how do I make myself quite passive, because I'm used to being active. How do I become passive? You know, how do I not do it? Where healers tend to go, oh, I'm used to not doing it, you know. So again, healers then will have trouble in expression of the first words. Mediums tend to be a little bit better with the first words. But healers feel the energy, want to use the energy, but have trouble getting the words out of their mouth to begin with, you know, or the words starting. So hence there can be different techniques that people use according to where you come from, and according to what practice you've had in the background, and according to what work you're doing on yourself. Yeah. So a good way to begin with as well is to build up sufficient power around you to aid the connection with spirit. I often find this is a step that some people, or many people, actually miss out on. Building power around you, feeling the connection around you, feeling the intensity of presence, feeling the tingles as they can start to arise. Yeah. Building power. And here, you know, if you go into mediumship, and perhaps we need to be careful of some of the words we use, but if we go into mediumship, building power around you is a vital part of making sure your connection happens. Yeah. Building power is feeling it all around, and feel the intensity around. And just sitting in that power. Now, sitting in the power is an exercise which is often mentioned, isn't it? You know, and it's not just sitting and feeling it; it's allowing it to be with you, yeah, and allowing the connection to be with you, and feeling what this feels like. And again, for me, so I'm sitting in meditation. I'm not necessarily trying to build trance or even mediumship at this time. I'm feeling the presence start to arise. I'm sitting in a temple. I'm in a Buddhist temple, and I'm sitting there meditating, and this energy sits me. Now, because I've been aware, I can tell. Yeah. I'm aware that the energy is an energy has just arrived, and this was very new to me. You know, what's going on here? You know, I knew what mediumship was, or thought I did back then, and all of a sudden, this energy is now around me. What's going on? You know. But if you're not aware of your energy, how can you be aware of a different energy when it starts to approach? So there's all sorts of techniques and ways to become aware of the energy around, okay? Now, when the energy starts to arrive, the expression of it then becomes our work. We've become aware that we've got a spirit standing on our shoulder, well, standing by our shoulder, should we say, and what are you going to do about it? Yeah, why is it here? Why me? You know, these are all the parts of connection. Well, in essence, really, if it's true that we are all one, then that energy is sitting right next to you right now for everybody. Because otherwise we can't be all one, can we? No. If we are all one, then you do not have to go and find a spirit. You just have to wake up to the spirit being present next to you. Do you get that? Do you understand what I mean? Because if we are all one, then why do you have to go look under a rock for a spirit personality? Do you know? And why do we got to go look for it? You know, why do we have to spend so long in blending or trying to find or sitting meditating? And why do we have the problem? Why do we have a problem if spirit already here? You know, where really is the problem? And in essence, of course, the problem tends to exist with us, the physical, doesn't it? You know, it exists with the physical side or some aspect of the physical side, or even our minds. Some aspect within there is having resistance. So again, if this is true, some aspect of us is resisting the process, then it is us we have to work with and not spirit. Yeah. To some degree, the concept has to firm up and get, all ducks in a line and making sure things happen correctly. So in essence, we tend to put the blocks in place, don't we? We tend to put the blocks in place. Let's call one of the blocks fear. Of course, it's maybe one of the biggest ones, that we have fear about the process, or we have fear whether we can do the process, or we have fear of expression. I don't want to look an idiot. That's a very common one. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly, and I don't want to be a fake. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I want this to be exactly right. So of course, some of this can then actually build a block rather than remove a block, can't it? If you can see that, you can see that my fear of doing this correctly is actually causing the problem to occur in the first place to some degree, yeah? And our minds then gets in the way about how we express ourselves or express the spirit or soul of what's around. My guides have commonly said, it's not us that puts the veil in the way, it's you. Yeah. And if you can say that veil, or perhaps one description is fear, perhaps we can see how some of that is. Fear being a nice little line which gets in the way. All right. So we have now, in part, a soul, which is what we're already connected to. We have our self. We have our own ability of finding ourselves and finding who we are. And we also have then this real or otherwise block that's in the way to who we are or who we want to express. Is everybody relating to this? I'm sure we'll all have a few slightly different expressions. Stonehenge in the background, Brond like it. So we all have probably a slight different variation of where we see our problems. Yeah. So what I've got now, I do a little bit of when people start to learn trance. I do have like a spreadsheet of theory. It's a PowerPoint of theory, okay, of what can happen, why it happens, how it happens, etc. So I'm going to share my screen with you now to show you one very simple diagram which will help. Now, as we go through, ask questions. All right. If there's something that pops up that I don't explain well, please ask. All right. I'm just going to share screen. Better make sure I get some sound. There we go. Share screen. Where are we here? All right. Everybody see, I hope. And so here, let's explain this from a number of different ways. Okay. So it's a very simple diagram, 2 triangles with a circle. So the middle part is your normal waking state. Yeah, so this is what you look like now. Perhaps you wouldn't define yourself as a circle, but that's the way I'm describing you. If you're like me, the circle might be a bit rounder in some places. Okay, so this is your normal waking state. Okay, so you work through your daily life in a conscious or semi-conscious state. Okay. Now, when you sit for blending with spirit, let's call it mediumship. Here, you raise your vibration and you raise your awareness, if you would like, up into spirit world and what you describe as spirit world, and you go up here and you find it very difficult at times trying to make a contact. You feel like you've got to go right up to the extremity when you very begin. That makes sense. Anyway, new language of developing as we speak. So you go right up here into spirit and you find them, you bring them down to your conscious state and you describe them. Yeah, so it's active, you chase up, active. And when you begin the process of learning meditation, it's lots of effort. You're constantly going and you're constantly struggling to get messages of who you are, who this spirit is. But with time, this becomes easier and easier. And really, you just change your viewpoint when you get very practiced of being from here to here, and it's already here. And then when you become totally practiced, you just kind of open your eyes and they're there. So spirit have come closer and closer, you feel. Yeah. So as you get closer and closer to your normal state in mediumship, the images become clearer and clearer, or the clairaudience becomes better, or the sentience, etc. So effort at the beginning, all difficult, trying to find it, trying to get used to it, but here quite, let's call it easier, yeah? Easier at least to make a connection. Now, if you were to practice meditation, you go from a normal state of consciousness and you drop away and you drop down and you become here is the opposite. It starts very difficult and becomes very easy. Yeah, with meditation, your mind is very active around your normal conscious state, but with meditation, eventually your mind becomes a lot stiller, and stiller. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Ben Stiller, that's what it becomes, and and you become here a lot quieter. And you begin to separate thought from being. Okay. Now, the trance process is, first of all, let's find a spirit, and then let's get out of the way. So the trance process is a combination of the two. First bit, make a link. Second bit, get out of the way. Yeah. So what commonly happens is, around this area of our normal conscious state, as we begin to make a link with spirit and or we begin to drop into a meditation space, the images come. So in a meditation state, you still will see images to begin with. You haven't fully relaxed. Yeah. So people commonly, when they are practicing either meditation or trance, they say, I am seeing images. Yeah, I am hearing words, which is great. If you stay here, you're going to see images and translate images. Or if you're lucky enough to hear the words, you'll hear Bob say, talk about the car, and you'll say, I've got to talk about the car. Yeah. So you can see from this diagram, the images around all of this here, as you go into spirit, they're very much required if you're doing mediumship. But if you're doing trance, they actually are a hindrance. Yeah. So we think we've made a link, and you may well have made a link, but you have a potential to go into mediumship at this stage, not into a trance state. So again, if you think of healer and medium, a medium will be very, well, I love these images. This is what I want. Yeah. A healer will go, I don't care. I just love the feeling, you know, and they want to enjoy and dwell in this feeling. Oh, this is lovely. I love the bliss, the love, and the feeling of loveliness. That's a quote from one of my guide, Loveliness. The express your loveliness, he said once. But anyway, so here, this is where you can find that you can get a little bit trapped. So if, to begin with, you've made the connection, the images come, great, we're making progress. Okay, now let go of the images. Really? Do I have to? You know, they're my bit of validation. They're my bit of proof that I've got somebody, you know. But if you want spirit to take over and have control, when you see the red car or the face of the person talking to you, you have to let it go. So one of the common problems with blending or the process is people get stuck here, or they think they're doing this, you know. They can easily drop into this side and get images, and their mind feels a little bit blurry. What's going on, you know? But their gut reaction is to say, hold on to that image. No, let go of that image. Trance is often called a control mediumship. And control mediumship refers to how much control do spirit have. If you stay here, you'll have what is called influence mediumship. Yeah. Or if you want, psychic mediumship. Yeah. Or even just psychic. Remember the difference between psychic and mediumship. Mediumship is active. You've got to do it. Psychic tends to be more passive. The message just is there, like coining a slot. So you tend to find psychics are a bit more passive, mediums a bit more active. So psychics tend to make good healers and potential trance developers. Not that mediums can't. But both of them can get stuck here, but healers can drop a little bit further. Healers will drop around here, and then the expression starts to happen, and then that becomes their challenge around there. All right. Anybody got any questions with this diagram before I flick over? I want to show you another one. Not hearing anybody. All right, let's move on. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. All right. I know some people have seen this before. If you've done the beginning process, come on, there we go. Look. So another way of describing it, let's start this end of the diagram. So we've got the medium along here, or the psychic, and we got spirit world up here, okay? Mediums, again, are very active, so they go up to spirit. Yeah. Inspirational work tends to be a little bit more aware, a little bit less aware than the medium. The information gets dropped into their mind. Yeah. Healers are perhaps not necessarily chasing information, they're just wanting the energy, so they just need to make the connection. Yeah. Maybe a little work in holding the connection. Those in trance state, they have to just get out of the way and leave it to spirit. So if you find during your blending process you are actively chasing and trying to do, you are becoming more active, and you're going to take yourself from here and go this way, some way, you know, whichever way it'll be. Yeah. So the act of letting go is the act of not bothering. I call it the WTF method. Which really is, I don't care. You know, I don't care. I'm not interested. Believe me, you do care when you come back. Commonly, you know, after sessions, I may ask somebody, was that all right? Did it go okay? So clearly, I'm not following totally the WTF method, but at least in part during the session, I am, you know. Is that somebody with their hand up for a question? If you are, please speak up. I can't see you. All right. No. So anyway, so this here is really exactly the same diagram as the other diagram, but explains it in a slightly different format. So remember, mediums are active, psychics get given the information, healers just want to hold the energy, trance mediums make the link, do nothing else. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a while. This is about a 30-page document. Don't need all the other stuff for now. All right. All right, questions.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Brandon.
Question. I'm curious, when you had that energy feeling back in 2003, at what point from that energy feeling did you meet your guide? How did he present himself from the point of that energy feeling? And afterwards, did you have to continue to build up that link with him or your team, or it was just instant afterwards?
Okay. Remember my goal, even now my goal, trance mediumship is just on the way for me. It's not the way, it's on the way. My goal was meditation, finding myself, and self-discovery, shall we say. And then this energy pops up. So for some reason, then I started doing healing in different places, did healing within churches for, I don't know, 6-7 years, whatever. And somehow I felt I needed to go to shamanic work for healing, found a course, shamanic trance it was called. I'm thinking, what the hell's that about? It sounds lovely. I'll go and get a feather, I'll be all right, stick it in my hair, get all those big baggy trousers, got to be wonderful. So off I went looking for this course, found this course, signed up and did it. And of course, half of it's really about trance, and the other bit was a nice talk about what shamanic is. And I'm a stuff it, let's have a go person. And so I sit for trance, and the woman says to me, this is how you do it. Okay. So I go into a meditation space, the energy arrives, the spirit speaks on the first sitting. All right. Can't forget, I'm kind of like, I'd been practicing for 7 or 8 years for it, in essence. You know, I didn't know I was practicing for it. So up pops this, what I call a continental Indian as opposed to American Indian. And big tall guy, a Sikh, got a turban on, speaks to this person, blah, blah, blah. And I spoke for the next 2 or 3 days on this course. And I thought, okay, maybe there's something here. And then I never spoke again for a number of years. Left me. Well, didn't leave me. I left it, would be the correct terminology. And off I went, did something else, whatever I did. Maybe I practiced a bit of mediumship in that time. And the guy made a reappearance only a matter of a few months ago. And now he only talks to one particular lady. Doesn't talk to everybody, doesn't talk to anybody else. And he talks to this lady and tells her, you need to open a business, you need to do this. And he's told her all this information and everything's been proved to be true. She found the building he was talking about, he said there would be a feather on this doorstep, found that. He told her the electricity wouldn't work down one side of the room, and it proved to be true. And anyway, a bunch of other stuff. And he comes through and tells her off. You're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not doing whatever, whatever he says. And she sits there, oh no, it's him. Oh, what haven't I done? And tells her off and says, but anyway, and he says, look, there's people coming, we're sending people. He said, yes, I know, the 2 arrived yesterday. Yes, we sent them. And, but you've got to do this, And for her, it's wonderful advice. It's given in a bit more of a school teacher way, but it's wonderful advice for her. She gets what's true, but he doesn't talk to anybody else. Did I just waffle then, Brendan, or did I answer your question? I think I just waffled, didn't I? Go on.
I enjoyed it, but
yeah, it's fine.
I thought, well, maybe I went off track a little bit. All right. Okay. But anyway, we got there, I think, in the end,
Basically what you're saying is you're the accidental trance medium.
Yeah, everything's a bit of an accident. Anyway, let's have another question because I can't think what to say next to answer Brendan. Anybody else got a question about any part of the blending process or otherwise?
What I want to know is you get the connection, you're in trance, you have it, and then you're blending. So you feel the essence, I can't pronounce it, but you know what I'm talking about, of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
The personality starts taking over, and it starts coming around, blending with your features, and you feel your face changing. And actually, I have photographs of faces changing.
Mm-hmm.
So what about that? What do you think about? Do you know what I mean? Like you go into a state where their personality comes through. Say they're elderly, like I have a guy that's elderly, very elderly, and he comes through and he cringes up and he's his head goes down. Do you know what I mean?
All right. Okay. Potential benefits and negatives to where you are. Benefits are, well, you're getting some kind of impression. You begin to feel it. You begin to understand that there is something here. Yeah. Whether you experience them as elderly or tall or short or anything else, whatever it is. Yeah. Potential negative. You're not there yet. Yeah. You've got the link. You are aware of where you are. Aware of where you are. And you need to let go a bit further. If you hold your attention on yourself, you are not surrendering full control to the spirit. you know what I mean? It's like seeing that image. In this case, it's clairsentient. I'm feeling the image or feeling the body alter. I'm still standing at the top part of that circle, the triangle. You know, I'm still standing there. I'm still aware. And the more that you want to attach to, or this is a potential issue, Julie, I'm not sure about what yours is specifically, but the more that you want to attach to that image or feeling of person being around you, the more aware you are, the less control you are surrendering, and the more present you will be. So you'll come out of it knowing, remembering, saying, oh, he looked like this, he said that. Yeah. So it feeling.
Because that makes sense, because I have 2 guides that I do what you just said, and then I have 1 that I don't. So it makes a lot of sense.
Think of it of where is your awareness? Yeah. So the awareness is here. You know, so really you've only just shifted your awareness, just dropped a little bit. Let it go, drop a little bit more. And then the personality will express bigger, express biggerer and betterer.
You're creating your own language, aren't you?
Absolutely. You know, at the end of this, I'm going to be talking in Braille.
Mark.
So does that answer? 1 second. Does that answer? You see what I mean, Julie? Do you see what I mean?
Exactly, I do.
Let go.
Do.
Let go.
Yeah.
So
You get so concentrated on the essence of your personality coming through that I do concentrate and I wait for it.
You wait for it, yeah.
So when it started happening with one of my guides, I was like, wow. So then I'm just waiting for it.
It's waiting for it. That's right. But and you know, it's both a benefit and a negative. Remember when we see that triangle and circle bit? You got to the picture bit. I love it. You know, this is nice.
I used to do that one of those. I remember that.
Let go a bit further. So the act of looking for pictures and faces and feelings can be great, but can get in the way. No.
So then I have another question, if you don't mind. So you're in trance, you go down the way that you showed the triangle, and all of a sudden you just, I mean, it's just nothing, and you know you're talking, but you're not nothing. And what happens to me is I'm letting go, and then it's like, wow, I just bring myself back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, I haven't reached that point yet where my mind goes completely black.
Okay, what's going on is there is a part of you, which is, let's call it the Julie part of you. Hang on, we've screens changed places. I was looking at you, and now there you are. There is a part of you called Julie, which wants to be Julie. Doesn't want to be nothing. Of course, this is.
I think I'm more worried about rambling.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I ramble all the time. You'll know that by the end of the session. The Julie part of you wants to be Julie. Let's alter the words a bit. The ego of you does not want to let go. The ego is the veil. You know, is that little bit of let's call it glad wrap, cling film, whatever you use, language you use, a paper bag, which wants to have substance, wants to be here, wants to be recognized. You know, I don't want to be nothing. I want to be something. That's your ego. That's your quest for individuality, not the universality of true spirit. So it jumps back again. You know, it jumps back into, oh, here we are. No, I don't want to let go. And your mind will say, I've stopped breathing. I better come back to breathe. Well, that's just not happened. You know what I mean? I've not breathed. I haven't had breath for the last hour. Really? Okay. Not true. Not true, but it's exactly the same process.
It does feel
No,
like it sometimes.
Yeah,
Like you
it does. It does. Your mind wants to gain control. It's at sacrifice of losing out, and it wants to be here. It doesn't want to give up. But really what's happening is that is your boundary. That's the bridge. And there's a gate on the bridge, and that is you have to let the ego be at bay and say, don't worry. So remember, this is going now from there's a fight for individuality, and you want to step into spirit, which is more universal. So hence the desire for what's at risk is losing self. But you have to lose self, otherwise you can't be somebody else, if you know what I mean. Do you get me?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Mm-hmm. Matt, you got your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. So my question is, I'm 100% believer. I feel it. So when you're talking about the healers, they enjoy that feeling. Is I get wrapped up in it.
Yep.
Where I'm just like, oh my gosh, take me on this magical feeling adventure.
Yeah.
But my question related to that is, if you could help me understand if I would be going into a trance state, or if this is something else. It's happened a couple of times, but one of the most like prominent ones was that I felt just in meditation, felt my guide step in as like that feeling of the energy, and then my whole body gave way, and and then it's because I don't hear the voice, I feel the voice, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, open your eyes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I opened my eyes, but I actually wasn't there in the body. I was just behind me.
Yep.
And felt my guide say to me again, this is something that you can do. We will keep doing this. And so I just want to understand. And then when I said, oh, I'm ready to go back now, in my mind, then I came out of whatever state that I was. I want to understand, is that going somewhere in a trance state, or is that more of a out of body experience?
Okay. In essence, what you are doing is two minds. Remember, trance is a mind to mind activity, although it can be felt in the body. Yeah. It's not occurring in the body, it's occurring in the mind, but the mind does give rise to the body. So in essence, you now have one mind, and I'm going to attempt to do this in sign language for you, Matt. You have one mind, and you have another mind coming in. And the two minds then start to overlap. You know what I mean? And so in essence, your mind, if you like, is beginning to recess. And another mind is beginning to become dominant. Yep. So it feels like I have separated from my body. Yeah. And it feels like I'm up there somewhere, do you know? And a good way to practice trance is to sit and blend and stand to one side.
That's actually what my guide said to me, is that we're going to blend. And I didn't know what trance was until I met a medium in the UK who mentioned the word trance. And when she explained what trance was, I was like, oh, that's what my guide says is blending.
Yeah. Change the word blending to allowing.
Allowing. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I say it is you're allowing another mind to influence your body.
Understood.
Yeah. And so you're saying, all right, I won't do this, you do that.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll step here, and you step from here to here. Do you know? Of course, that's not what's happening, but that's the way it feels. Yeah.
It feels it.
And so try just stepping to one side and letting it happen. We do practice this in the groups at times, and step to the side is one exercise. Step to the side and go somewhere else. and step to the side, go somewhere else, come back with information. Is one series of classes, education. So in essence, you are allowing more control to take place. Your potential pitfall here is you become interested in what's going on. Yeah. The more interest you have about what's going on, it connects back to Julie's question of feeling the energy and keeping your attention on the energy. You have to step to the side and say, all right, you do it.
Yeah.
And you'll drop a little bit down the triangle.
Makes perfect sense, yes.
Yep. Try, and this may be something you could just see if it works for you. Okay, may work, may not work. Try when practice the stepping behind you as you described, you know, and when you go behind you, go to your happy place. You know, sometimes it's the beach, sometimes it's a bench in the forest, sometimes it's your grandmother's bedroom, you know, wherever it is. And so you begin to enjoy your happy place. This will give you a feeling of them doing the work, me standing to the side. I can still enjoy myself to the side. You know, I can be there in this place and I can hold my attention just there a little bit, and all of a sudden it'll stop. The happy place will disappear and you'll have gone. Why are we doing this? Well, one, we're relaxing into the process. Two, we're giving you a feeling of comfort. And three, we're saying to you, surrender. Be happy to surrender because you're in your grandmother's arms or whatever it is, you know. And there's it's a simple to say, it's not so simple to do. It's that surrender into warmth, you know, or comfort. To get me, and then you'll find that letting go can take place a little bit easier. Watch yourself.
That's great.
Watch yourself, then go on. What's going on? No, not interested. I'm going to go here. And your depth will, I can't say increase overnight. That's not the correct word, you know, but it will increase. Your depth will increase. I think that doesn't sound like the correct language.
I got you. I got you. I understood you.
Good. We have to talk our own language in this thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, I hope I've answered that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It really did. Thank you.
Somebody, Brian, I think you had your hand up, didn't you? Was that right? Did I?
Yes, I did, Mark. And then my question got so big in my mind, I had to abandon it. Because it's so, I don't even know how to ask the question, but.
Try it with your credit card bill. Bring it into mine and try and abandon it. See if it works.
Stonehenge might help. I'm doing a spirit art. So I'm going into trance state. I feel I'm okay. So I'm starting to do it more with my fingers, with charcoal, right? So I'm sort of feeling it, and it just appears. Then I'm curious because I'm a medium and I'm getting information, but then I want to go back into the spirit.
Yeah.
So there's this going between your triangles thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also double linking with a friend who's a medium.
Yeah.
So sometimes we struggle with getting the information about the same person, or I get the visual and she's getting their life. It's incredible, you know. So we're sort of overlapping, but sometimes we don't always get the same person. We get like a group. So it's like,
okay.
I don't even know if I'm phrasing the question properly.
Well, actually,
this crossover.
All right, gotcha. I think I got you. This is an interesting question because do you remember at the beginning I said what is spirit? Do you know, what's it look like? What does it feel like?
I came in a little bit late. Sorry, I just.
All right. Okay. We asked the question at the beginning. What is spirit then? What are you trying to do? What is soul? Do you know what are you doing? What is it? You know. Let's describe this from an artwork point of view. All right. Let's say you sit down to draw a picture. Yeah. Whether it's pencil or anything else, you sit and draw a picture, and you're there. Do you find that when you use your mind, you draw a picture, but then when you relax into it, the inspiration is different?
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? That and it's the same with people who, let's say, play the trumpet or something. When I try to do it, I get a stick figure. When I surrender to it, I get a really nice stick figure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
and a stick figure with attitude, let me tell you. Anyway, so there was a friend that I was helping, and she is a potter. Is it a potter or a potterer, whatever it is? And anyway, she said to me, "Look, I do it. If I can just let go, I can then spend 4 hours doing pottery, and I don't even know." Yeah. And can you relate to that? I'm sure you can, can't you?
Yeah.
And when you, let's say, when you read a book, when you're in the book, do you know what I mean? You have lost an hour easy, do you know? And again, I'm just there, aren't I? I'm engrossed. Well, you're not using your mind anymore. You're not using the limitation of your mind. You've gone through it. You've gone past it. The inspiration comes. There's a feeling of love that comes at the same time, isn't there? You know, I love this pottery, this painting. I love it. I love doing it, and I love what I produce. And if I think about it, I get in the way. Yeah. And it's not just with pottery, it's all sorts of things. And can you see how this relates now?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, part of the expression of spirit is it's not just the words, but it is the manifestation of the quality. And the manifestation of quality is the expression of love, for example. Other things too, yeah. And in your case, you surrender into the effort, and it becomes effortless to make this painting. Again, I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm sure you agree with me.
It does.
And you don't have to try anymore. And all of a sudden, that making that, I don't know, butterfly in pottery just seems to come out. You know, how the hell did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you know, if you're writing a book, if you try to do it, it's hard work. If you don't try to do it, yeah. So, and if
you don't try, just surrender.
I'm sure the people get sick of me in the groups because I say, let spirit do the work. Don't try to do this exercise. You know, if you try to do it, you won't do it. Stop trying to do this exercise. I go, what? You know, from that example you just give is a perfect way to say to people, stop trying to do it. You know, let spirit do the work. And it comes out, you know, you see the love in what you produce. So you are seeing spirit made manifest in that painting, that butterfly, the pot, the whatever, yeah. You know, we define trance often by words, but it's not really, you know. And I do always say in readings and demonstrations and things that, well, it's all well and good hearing the words, but feel, listen. Are spirit with you or not? This is to the client, you know what I mean? And you should feel it in your room, not just in my room. You know, so in essence, you know, trance then starts to cross boundaries into physical a little bit. You know, that I'm doing the talking, but you are feeling the love. You understand, don't you, Bron? Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Thank you.
And this is why you know you are being spoken, or somebody is speaking the truth, because you know it in your heart. Yeah. The link between, let's say, you and I, medium and client, if you want to use that word, you know you are hearing the truth because you get it here. It's reached out from me to you, or from, let's say, from medium to client, let's use that word, and it's given you a bit of a hug, and it's held you, and you're going, I love that. And this is why healers love it, and people love sitting in healing circles, because spirit have arrived. The spirit in the medium has woken or allowed the spirit in the client to manifest, to come. And the client, the circle member, whatever it is there. Yeah. So this is what, if you go back to that triangle picture, the 2 triangle picture, this is what's meant by go deeper. You know, and some people get stuck at the inspirational bit. You know, can talk for hours inspirationally, wonderful. You know, go deeper. And they don't like it because I'm getting the messages. Go deeper. You know, there's only they've only got a light control, not a deep control, or deeper, or betterer control. You know, do you see it? Do you see what I mean? And this is why there's a resistance from some people about when you say go deeper. They're just under they're under the conscious circle, but they're 10% under the conscious circle, you know, and they could drop a little bit more. You watch a what I call inspirational trance. Okay, you watch somebody in inspirational trance, and what happens is they sit, and I'll exaggerate this. Okay, so this is an exaggeration. Right, deep blend. Okay, I want to talk to you about blah 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 blah, and you watch them, and you listen to their words, and you recognize their normal language within their language of this spirit contact. Yeah. So let's say somebody says at the end of every sentence or something. You know, you hear it again. Okay, right. You're in inspirational trance. You've been inspired, but you haven't let go. Or you talk about topics that you know. Yeah. Or you talk about in ways that you know. There was a story from a long while ago. A guy was doing inspirational trance. I said, go deeper. And he spoke for 16 minutes, right? I remember it exactly. 16. Well, he spoke for 20 minutes. And at the 16-minute mark, his language changed. I can't remember the words. So we went from saying at the end of every sentence, whatever. Yeah. And I played back the video to him and said, look, watch. And he had visual proof that he went from saying, let's call it cliche or regular words, into something else. And it was, the change was unrecognizable apart from the language just shifted slightly. Like a click, you know? Go deeper. You've got it. He didn't feel a thing. He said, but I can't feel any different. Right, trust it. Go deeper. Let go. Now, he was at the boundary of, you know, the upper part of the triangle dropping down into the next part of the triangle. So sometimes you see people in trance state, and people come to me and say, was that trance or what? You know, was it? Well, you can see it in diagrammatical form where that person was. You can see what they have to do. The observer was not feeling it here. I didn't feel the love, I didn't feel the connection, didn't feel the peace, or I know that this is the truth, or something like that. So there's a need for a bit more drop. Do you get me? Again, Bron, I've taken what you said and gone on a little bit, but you got me started. Got that high horse of mine. Anybody want to hold it for me? Somebody else had their hand up. I can't remember who it was. Anybody got any question?
I think Glenda has a question. She's been itching to ask something.
Sorry, Glenda, was it you?
Well, I think it was already answered by Matthew and stuff, but I think, well, I started as healing, first of all.
Mm.
I'm a healer. I started as healing. And then when I got into the mediumship, I got really confused at how people were always telling me how to do things. And because I was already letting go and I didn't realize that. And now I'm doing more meditation again, going back into my true self where I was. I stopped doing that. I'm doing that again.
Cool.
And I'm finding that the energy is expanding more. And does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Remember the bottom half of the triangle is expansive. Do you know what I mean? That bottom triangle. And that is the feeling that can give you, and look at the triangle from being individual at the point to more universal at the bottom, and that's where you're falling. So the expansion happens, but you got to let go of that for trance. It's happening. This is, again, the healer bit of you. I'm feeling it. I love it. I enjoy it. Let go. Don't be interested in it. Go to Matthew's happy place, well, not his happy place because he's there. Pick another happy place. It's engaged at this time. All right. Go to another happy place and just fully relax. Keep going in the relaxing.
So what I'm basically asking is that when you totally surrender and let go, you're actually not even aware, completely unaware. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, because I think I understand that then.
Matt, again, sorry, Matt, but so Matt's in his happy place. He's gone to his grandmother's bedroom, right? Hopefully your grandmother's not there. But anyway, you've gone to wherever it is. You got your image of your grandmother in your mind, haven't you? I don't want to go there. I don't want to see my grandmother in the bedroom. Anyway, he's gone to wherever he's gone, and he has, after a while, he has to let go of that too. Yeah. The happy place is just the boundary to give you the ability to just relax a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I know what you're saying.
Brings up another question. This is a question that I get asked a lot. I go into trance, I come back, and I'm aware it's just me. Yeah. God, if you're not going to say this, then you're not even trying. It is just me. I heard the words. I was aware during the whole thing. I don't want to be a fake. I'm going to give up at this point. Common. This is one of those. What would you call it? Turning the road or something, where people then have the potential to give up. Because I am just hearing the words. I am aware. I can't let go. I can't surrender. I can't relax. What do I do? All right. As I say, everybody will feel this at some stage. Perhaps I shouldn't say everybody, most people. And here you've just got to surrender a little bit more. You've got to look at your memory, not at your awareness. Okay, so let me describe. I've done the session. I've come back. I was aware during the whole thing, so clearly it was me. All right, what do you remember went on? Well, actually, I know we spoke about I can't really remember. All right. What you have for dinner tonight? Well, I had, etc. So your memory can give you a far better indication of your depth of trance than your awareness sometimes, until you get to the deeper depths, and then there's no memory, no awareness. So we criticize ourselves and say, I knew it, I was there. Okay, that's fine. You're just, you're underneath the triangle. It's perfectly fine. It's a natural state. We all surrender gradually. We don't surrender from 0 to 100%, just relax a little bit more. And if they can accept that and practice a little bit more surrender, then they will find that the memory just gets less and less, and the awareness becomes softer and softer. So don't judge yourself by your awareness at the beginning. There's plenty of trance mediums I know which are really good, give really good messages, Again, using Matt's example, he may still stand here and watch all this take place and give wonderful messages. He could be aware during the whole process. Doesn't mean necessarily it's him. He may, sorry to pick on you, Matt, but he may surrender control, but he may still be watching. There is more to it for this person at that stage to let go a little bit more, but you can surrender more. You see, going back to the first part, you see, you are already a spirit. Yeah, you're already a spirit that thinks it's a soul, that thinks it's a body. Yeah. So you're already blended. You're already there. You just got to stop not being there. Stop not being there. Think about it. Stop being a spirit. Go on, get rid of your spirit. You can't, can you? You can't. It doesn't make any sense whether you can actually visualize it or not. It doesn't make any sense. I can't stop being this spirit. But what I can do, I can associate to the body. A lady once went through the courses and said, I have a visualization that I am a stone statue which all the cracks are starting to appear and the light is beginning to come through the cracks, the light's on the inside, shining through, and then lumps of concrete or whatever fall off. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. You're not the statue, you are the light. Look, now I've said that, I think in your heart you feel that to be true. Do you know, as you're listening to that, you feel that that's true. I'm sure that's true. Maybe I can't get there yet, or I can't fully accept that that's what is happening, but that it is what is happening. You're already there. You're just pretending not to be. So this is when people say, well, trance is easy. In essence, it is, because in essence, all you're doing is being the true you underneath it. And this is why you're letting go of the individual to become the universal. You don't have to find everybody. You just stop being individual. Of course, that's deep, but in essence, you are just releasing, relaxing, allowing, surrendering. So those who seem to, let's say, do this easy, are the ones which relax a little bit more. Maybe they've had meditation practice. Maybe they've had what Bronze describing as a surrendering into an artwork.
Hey, Mark.
Mm.
I know there's a debate on the educational level of the medium. Sometimes the information put forth by the guide uses the vocabulary of the medium, and phraseology is something also to consider, because I've seen individuals in trance bringing in different guides, and the vocabulary, the words are very similar, and the jokes are very similar. So I think if they're in light trance, they're still there. Their minds are still in the way.
If you think about the diagram of the triangle, the lower diagram, in essence, the universal has to come through the individual into the consciousness, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's coming that way. And there is always remnants of, well, let's call it some of the stones of self blocking the river. Yeah. So hence some of that can be brought up at times. To me, yes, that's very possible. Very much language can be used. And then some people say, well, if you want to develop trance, do work on yourself too, and increase your vocabulary or whatever it is. So yes, it's very possible, very understandable, but at some stage it does mean a little bit more surrender. There's a beautiful case of a guy who the medium died in, gosh, I think early 60s, and he became what we're talking an accidental medium. Was actually a fireman, right, in the UK, in Aylesbury, and he was a fireman, and his guide was a Dr. William Lang, a surgeon. Yeah, and what was interesting about this case was he would stay in trance the whole day. Right, so he'd sit in his chair, serve one person, next, still there, next, and people would come in the whole day. And he surrendered into this, and the surgeon would operate on the spirit body, not on the physical body. So he would be, let's say, operating here, 6 inches above the medium, the client, and he would do all his work. He would talk in surgical speak, if you know what I mean, and talk to where if you had medical knowledge, you would know that this person knows medicine. Do you know? So you might want to read that. It's an old book, and again, it's really full of all the success stories and what happened. But at some stage, this person, the medium, surrendered fully into that spirit, into that control. And this is how you end up with this type of level of work or expression. Yeah. So surrender is the key. Letting go is the key. You know, what are we letting go of? You know, well, we're letting go of the need for control. This is why meditators, and I put my hand up for this, my meditators have already practiced this to some degree. You know, and I'm not talking meditation from the point of I've done it for, once a week for 6 months type meditation. That may be a start, but that's really just the beginning, no more. And this is why sitting in the power works. Sitting in the power is just sitting and feeling what's around you. And look, if you do it straight away, there we go. Look, we've got the connection now. You can feel it. You just begin to feel what's around you. Your awareness expands from me to something. Your focus has changed a little bit. So sitting in the power has got lots of benefits. Some people say, I'm sitting in the power to find spirit. Well, no, you're not. You're sitting in the power to know spirit are already there.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yep.
I'm a believer that if you're going to be sitting with your team, that they're there to help you, guide you, support you. And for the most part, they're all loving. So, you know, it's a trust factor, right? Back to your discussion on fear earlier. What's your take on individuals trying to develop trance on their own? Because I know a lot of teachers don't want any individuals to develop trance by themselves. But if you were to trust your guides, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I'm on a different point of view to ones that you're just referring to. The truth is, you do not need a teacher. You don't need me to teach you. You know. But what happens is, you can sit by yourself, and there's plenty of people who have done it. But you have to be very dedicated. You need somebody to bounce off. Oh, I'm having this problem. Is this right? So you do need somebody to talk to. You need to be very dedicated, which of course is easy for a short term, but being dedicated, sit every night for 3 years, go on then, becomes hard. So in essence, you don't need a teacher because spirit are your teacher, but you do need a support network. And if you've got somebody you can bounce off and say, what do I do here? Then it's of immense benefit, which then, in essence, then you could just sit in a circle. Yeah, you can sit by yourself. Let's go up a bit, sit in a circle. And our circle is sit, relax, let's just all do our bit. Yeah. And that has benefits then, sit and relax. But often you find people who sit in the circle for too long plateau very easy. You know, I've got plenty of people which sit in circles and they give philosophy, and it's the light end of philosophy, what I call everything's light and rainbows, you know what I mean? And that has some benefit. And they then need to be pushed, or in some case pulled, and in which case courses then become far better. So courses potentially can push you too quickly or too soon. Circles can make you feel good, but you just don't seem to progress at some times. So, you know, you make a progress and then you stop. Sitting by yourself and doing nothing is wonderful, builds up lots of trust and ability, but comes with problems of dedication, practice, nobody to talk to, very lonely potentially. I think if the truth be told, and what I think is the right thing to do is to do all of them. Sit by yourself Monday to Friday, sit in a circle on a Wednesday, sit in a course on a Thursday or something, you know what I mean? And in that way, you practice what you learn in the course in the circle, and you improve it during your own relaxation and letting go. I think that's, you know, hypothetically, that would be the perfect bit. And as I say, you don't need a teacher, but you've got to be dedicated if that's the case. So any type of spiritual work that you do has to be by myself with everybody else. Yeah. Just get that. Of course, it's only you that can do the work. Nobody can do it for you, but they can encourage, help, advise, etc. Yeah. I think anybody's telling you that, you know, you need a teacher's more interested in them than anybody else. But you may need support. That would be true. All right. Any question? Is everybody clear now then? You know what you're going to do? Yes, of course I do. Easy.
Glenda did ask another question about light trance.
Oh,
Sometimes her guides take her into light trance and versus deep trance. Let me see her question. Let's see. Is it okay to go into light trance and deep trance, as sometimes spirit takes her to both levels?
The difference between the light and deep is the amount of control spirits have. They've got a light control, or they've got a bigger control, and so it doesn't mean spirits aren't there. It may mean that you may need to let go more. So let's say that light trance, you might be, let's say, 10% spirit, and at deep trance, you might be 30% spirit. You know, there was a medium ages ago said, I think the deepest anybody could go would be 60% self, so 40% spirit. He reckons that was the deepest anybody could go. Now, I don't know whether that's true, because when I get there, I don't know. But the don't worry about light trance. Don't worry about it. You know, it's your criticism that's criticizing you. Just keep going. Take another step. Relax a little bit more. Don't hold on to the images. Don't hold on to the messages. Don't hold on to the feeling of a phase. Don't hold on to the feeling of energy. Just say, okay. Let go. And here you can see why some people like to use a mantra for their trance blending. Kai Muga likes to use his breath. And here gives my mind a point of focus, rather like the happy place. And I can hold that focus. And eventually, for me in meditation, I hold the focus on my mantra. And the body disappears. It is just the mantra. There's no perception of me, no perception of I'm sitting in a chair, no sign of breathing. There is just this mantra that's repeating. And then my mind goes, you haven't breathed for a while. Haven't breathed for a while. All right, guys. Any last questions? Because I'm going to have to run.
Thank you, Mark.
That's all right. Well, more than willing, anybody that's got a problem, send me an email and I will help. Okay? And well, I think we're done then, hey? All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got
Mark,
something.
If I die during trance, I'm just going to come through, speak through you, okay?
All right, mate. No worries. I've got all your language figured out. Unfortunately, I can't say most of it. But anyway, it's you can come and work with me anytime. Take care, everybody. Good luck with everything. And
Thank you, Mark. Thanks.
Do it again.
That was awesome.
Julie,
All right,
thank
see
you.
ya.
Thanks,
Bye.
Julie.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.